So we got a conclusion in the Joe Mixon's case. Pretty much what happened was there was 3 people at his house. One was his sister, one was another man, and then finally one was his trainer. There was kids outside playing with Nerf guns, and then it ended up being that somebody shot one of the kids. The bullet went through the kid's foot, and he went to the hospital, and he later was okay with his injuries. But of course, this was the whole situation that went down with Joe Mixon. Now, of course, he was not involved in this any stretch of the imagination. Based on what it said, after the shots were fired, his sister and the guy left. The trainer stayed in the house. That's why when the police got there, there was one person in the house that was his trainer. And apparently the trainer's the one who called the police. He's the one who actually called the police and reported what happened. So let's go ahead and listen to the trainer and listen what this 911 call sounded like with the whole Joe Mixon situation. Let's go ahead and listen up.
In Anderson Township? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
There was a shooting next door to the house. There were
Correct.
some kids that were blocking off, there were 3, 4 cars blocking off the road, and one kid was running around brandishing a weapon. He went back to his car, and it looked like it was a fake weapon, but then I kept watching, and then he was screaming something, and he went back to his car, and he pulled out another weapon. It looked like a Kel-Tec or something, and ran up the back driveway of this house that he's been going up and down, and said, "Fuck yeah!" And then all of a sudden you heard him running down there, and you heard pop, 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 and then the 3 other cars sped off. Now there's one car back that's leaving in a quick fashion, and a Jeep that's still sitting out front, and I think it's taking off.
Okay, do you remember the other vehicle that was involved that took off as well?
It was a little difficult. I wasn't trying to get real close to them.
Okay, nope, I completely understand. And about how long ago would you say this was? Like just
A few minutes
now?
ago. I've been watching them for like the last a few minutes. I've been watching them for the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And they've been going back and forth, and then they had the road blocked. There was girls driving certain cars and guys and everything, and it was literally, one guy, he ran up the driveway, and that grass way in between my athlete's house and the other house, neighbor's house, and I heard him yelling something while he was brandishing the weapon, and then you heard pop, 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 pop.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate it, sir. I do have I have deputies headed out to that area now. I appreciate the call from you.
Do you need me to come out? Once they get here, I'll come out. But, I don't feel like getting in a gunfight with somebody.
No. Yep, we definitely don't want that. We'll let them get there, make sure everything is safe and secure first, and then I'll give them your name and phone number if that's okay. And then they'll let you know. They'll give you a call. What's your name?
Sean Pena. I'm at, like I said, my athlete's house.
Okay, all right. And then
I think he meant, he don't want to get in the middle of the gunfight. He's like, I don't want to get in a gunfight with these kids. Like, can you imagine the man goes out there? All right, listen. We about to do this. Nah, on a real note, though, it is a serious situation because a kid went to the hospital with a bullet in his foot. Okay, so the situation, it is very serious. But that's pretty much the close cut. Again, this is what I've said many times. I hated the media acting like this was Joe Mixon's fault, or putting blame in any way toward Joe Mixon. It was not at all. And it was actually a really nice neighborhood, too. So it's not like, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, well, this was in the inner city, or, where stuff like this happens all the time. No, this was actually a really good neighborhood. It was just kids playing with Nerf guns. And I don't know if you guys ever played with airsoft guns when you were younger, but it's, you kind of get in this character of you're like in war with somebody, right? You're going to war with the other guy. I remember we used to play airsoft guns when I was younger. We used to go in kind of like an open field, and we would go in the woods and stuff, and we play airsoft. It is what it is, you know? At the end of the day, when you run around in the darkness, in the dark, and you have Nerf guns, somebody thinks it's a real gun, somebody gets scared, somebody shoots somebody, it happens, it's awful, it's never justified, obviously, and the person who did do the action should be in jail. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you can't just shoot somebody. I don't care if you're scared. I don't care what's going on. You can't shoot somebody. And not only can you not shoot somebody, based on what the report was, 11 shots at the kids. That's not a warning. That's not, you're not scared. That is an intention to hit somebody, okay? I'm just going to say that right now. That's an intention to hit somebody. So at the end of the day, I'm happy the situation now is over. We can move on from it, and, you know, the authorities will be dealing with whoever they need to deal with, and whoever is incorrectly in this situation will be prosecuted. But at the end of the day, again, like I said, this is why this has nothing to do with Joe Mixon. And that's all of social media, like, oh, Joe, this is more reason why, since he needs to cut Joe Mixon. There's reasons why they need to cut Joe Mixon, and it's more about his performance on the field rather than it is about any situation like this. This was just a really bad situation. Well, based on what I understand, he was on vacation. He wasn't even home. So it's a really weird situation. That's why, again, if you remember going back to my initial reporting of this, how I said, you know, when they got to the house, whoever was inside would not come outside. And they had to literally barge in to get in the house. And I think that's what, I believe, based on what we heard here, that was Sean Pena, who was in the house. And I think it's because the police lady said he didn't really have to come outside the house. And I think he probably got confused and was like, oh, well, if I don't want to come outside the house, why would I come outside the house? I'll just stay inside and, you know, kind of wait for the police to handle their business. And again, she said the police would handle it. So I guess that's why he didn't come outside the house. But at the end of the day, he did the right thing, you know. Obviously, somebody was hurt, and because of his actions of calling, he was able to, you know, hopefully get that person, well, they got that person in the hospital and was able to, you know, save that person. Because, again, he only got shot in the foot, you might say, but that causes very bad bleeding, and if you don't stop the bleeding, you will bleed out. So it's definitely a good thing that they, you know, prevented any further damage than that. And again, like I said, whoever did the action will most likely get arrested for it, because you can't do that. Can't do that. Very dangerous situation. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, you know, Joe Mixon will not be, like, charged for this. He won't be suspended for this. Nothing will come out for Joe Mixon. But if the Bengals do end up cutting him, again, like I said, you can make the speculation that, oh, this was the reason, or it was this reason, or recently how that one girl said that Joe Mixon pulled a gun on her, and said that I could get away with it because I'm an NFL player, or, you know, whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to cut him because they could save $10 million. They're going to re-sign Samaj P. Ryan, and they're going to move on with their lives, because that's how business works in the NFL. But, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. At least we have somewhat of a happy ending, and I guess somewhat of an update, too. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.